Season 2, Episode 1. Retail Business in a Global Pandemic.
Hi, this is Jim,
And I'm Hisham, and this is
the Quantumly Leaping Podcast.
season 2.
2.
And as we promised you, season 2 is going to be a little bit different. So there are some episodes that's going to be only Jim and I, like the episode that we saw before about the Capitol Hill. It's also one of our toughest topics that we've ever went through, and the longest probably episodes. But we will also in this season we will change it up a little bit, as we promised you. We will have some guests to talk. We will have some awesome guests to talk about a lot of the topics. You know us, as you know how we work. We will continue tackling really, really serious issues and serious topics. But this time, it's not going to be only from our perspective. We'll bring experts to the table to give us like their insights, the real life experiences. And this is our first episode of this type. Today, we are going to talk about the retail business and how every business within this pandemic have been affected in a way or another. One of them is, of course, the retail business. Some of them were doing much better. Some of them kept the same thing, survived. A lot of them went down, and we still have a lot. We're still in this pandemic, and we still don't know what's going to happen. So we've talked about this topic in many of our episodes. In season 1, we talked about how the quarantine and living under that. We've talked about reopening, and we've talked also about digital transformation. So we advise you to go and see those topics. But today, we're going to specifically talk about retail business. And for that, we have an amazing person here, Barbara Crowhurst. Jim, she's your contact, and you brought her to here. So why don't you start by telling us and giving us a little bit about Barbara before we go and talk to her.
Excellent. Yeah. So very quickly, I'm all about networking. I've been networking here in Toronto and North America for many years. And I've met really some amazing individuals. And today is one individual that I met a number of years ago, I believe. It was in a City of Toronto event downtown. And I get Barbara's newsletter on a weekly basis. And I really enjoy this. I'm going to get insights. So I sent her an email. I told her about the show, and she was excited to be on. So I really appreciate Barbara being on today. So I'm just going to read a little bit of a bio, and then I'm going to throw it over to Barbara. So Barbara J. Crowhurst shares a partnership of retail makeover with her life partner, Steve Crowhurst. Starting in the late 90s, Barbara and Steve specialized in helping retailers achieve their dreams of running a successful and profitable business. Now, some of her services include coaching, retail business as a speaker, sales trainer, retail store designer, merchandising specialist, social media marketing specialist, website, plus many more. But I wanted to throw it to Barbara to sort of elaborate more, because she's had a long-standing career in that industry. So I'll throw it to you there, Barbara.
Thank you very much. I want to thank both of you very much for inviting me. It's very exciting to be here with you. A big topic here, retail, the pandemic, what the heck is going on? Do we all look in this crystal ball, and do we have the answers for how this is all going to factor out? When you ask me, how did you get where you are? Life is a natural progression. I just want to hit on some really big steps that I took. So when I started initially, my first big, huge job was in corporate. It was in international corporate. What kind of international corporate? Manufacture, wholesaling, distributing from Europe, luxury goods. I attained a senior level of management in both sales and marketing. So after nearly 20 years of working with this fantastic company, things came to an end because I started to see that I was never, ever, ever in a million years ever going to achieve full control of business. I won't go into why I think that, because that's not the right show, but it was definitely still all the signs were there, right? So what did I have to do? I truly believe that when you work in an organization for as long as I did, you can't really function in the real world because you are almost custom made to that set of circumstances. So I had to go back to school. In my senior years, in my 40s, I had to go back to school. I took business. I took technology improvements, right? So I understood, how computers work, why they work, how I could use them. And I started to realize that I wanted not to go back into corporate, sort of refreshed, renewed, re-educated. And I did very well, actually. I was one of the top students in our class in the program I took. I started to focus on self-employment because remember, okay, now I'm going to tell you, I wanted to be president. I was never going to be president or CEO of any large company because of a lot of things, right? One of them was because I was female. So I march into all of this. I do well in school again, and I start by focusing in on me being self-employed, offering services. And I launched Retail Makeover in the late 90s. So we've been around a while. My background was retail, wholesale, and now I was going in specifically to do what? To be of service to other businesses through my businesses. So my partner and I, who at that point, my partner was retired, he wasn't very happy because I asked him to join Retail Makeover in the IT management section because that's what he did his whole life. One of the big, huge areas of issue then in the 90s was all about website design. Everybody was talking about it. It was a big, huge noise about it. But I'll tell you already, very early in the game as a coach, I started to see my big concerns were how taken advantage of businesses were because people didn't understand what all this, why do I need it? Because that was it. But I'm told I need it. So why do I need it? So they would go and be sold. They would be oversold and they would be underdelivered. So what did I do? Because I have been in the industry that related to retail and again, luxury goods for such a length of time. I already had a level of, people trusted me. And it all starts with trust. You say that you're going to do this. I don't really know you, but I trust that you're going to do it because I hear good things about you. So it has a lot to do with that, right? So my partner and I decided that by working together, by providing services that were affordable for small business, specifically independent retail, although, gentlemen, we do have other businesses that are not retail. We do. We help businesses increase traffic and sales. And we use current and appropriate systems and methods to get the job done because that's our job, to make sure that we're on top of the latest, the best, the most effective, the most cost-effective systems and methods to get the job done. So it's interesting, you asked in sort of a pre-asked question before our time together here, you asked, were we busy before the crisis? Our phone does not ring unless somebody's in trouble. Otherwise, they don't need us. If their sales are up, their traffic's up, they're happy with their turns every year. Staff is working well, everything, they're spending most of their time away from the store. It's running well. I'm laughing. Not many of them spend much time away from the shop. We don't hear the phone ringing. So since the pandemic hit, it was like an explosion because by percentage, more businesses, more independent retailers were in trouble, didn't know where to turn. They turned to us. So that's very exciting for us because you haven't heard passion, you hear it in my voice. We love what we do.
Yeah, we can hear that actually.
Thank you. That's not rehearsed. That comes from years of,
Yeah,
you get up every morning and as you know, gentlemen, because you're in your respective work, you get up early in the morning and you go, you rest very late at night because you love what you do. People go to, both my partner and I, you should be retired by now. And I look at them and I go, what is that concept? Right? Because the thing is, if you love what you do and you are able to, in a healthy way, mix it into, time off and the various things that again expand the mind, and you're okay. Keep working. I see too many people who have retired, and it is disaster. It's a disaster for them.
yeah. I would just go through because you're talking also about age, and you in the first part you said you started when you were a senior and you're 40. I said like 40s are the new 20s. People right now, yeah, people right now are age. First of all, age is just a number, and we see a lot of entrepreneurs over 60s sometimes that who start business after that. And I believe like what we're seeing is that specifically before COVID, it was a world of entrepreneurship. A lot of people started to realize, we're working for a company, just like you said, we're working for a corporate, but I'm getting a salary and I'm living fine, but I don't feel myself. Actually, even Jim and I know a lot of other our friends who realized that during COVID when they sat at home and they're taking, of course, they serve money and all, and it's like, okay, so they're starting that realization process, and a lot of them didn't come back to work, even though some of them they were offered back their jobs. Jim told me stories like that. Yeah, I mean, like what you're saying is I think real valid, and that was even before COVID happened. And I think we really think that this is going to continue after COVID. It's just we have to somehow get out of this crap storm and and resume. It's going to be a different world, I'm sure, but I'm as humans, I think we as a species, we are so resilient, and your story is very inspiring. I'm so happy. And yeah, I'm also happy that you're a female and you're our guest as well, and to show this, that we know that there's a lot of sexism in business, and females are usually, the victim of a lot of that stuff. So
Well,
with that be sorry.
it's changing dramatically, and I don't want to really, stay on that point.
Yeah.
The thing is that I just something that triggered that I want to share with you. Because I get asked every day, so what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Here's the thing: if you plan for more than 4 quarters out or 1 year out, you're over planning. Nobody can plan more
Yeah.
than that. So the thing is, let's plan for the next 4 seasons, 4 quarters, the next the next 12 months, and it is a more realistic plan. Based on what we hear, based on what we see, based on the changes that have happened to us as individuals through all of us, because we've all changed. We've all changed, right? And right now, every single one of us, no matter what we're doing, our biggest question is, will we be okay at the end of this? Will we be the ones to get the vaccine, to be able to cope back in life? But here's the how the pandemic is affecting not only retail business and every other business. I'm going to tell you
Yeah.
the answer
Well, that's going to be the topic
is the
of our
next.
next topic. Yes.
What else
So
do you need to know in the first? I tend to be a little bit anxious.
yeah. Well. This is actually the our next topic. What we're going to talking about is the businesses, specifically of the retail business and the business that you work in during the pandemic. And I believe Jim, you had a question about that.
Yeah. So So the sudden change due to the lockdown and lack of preparation for digital transformation has affected businesses. Can you go into that a little bit, please?
Yeah, just a little point here. When we were preparing for this, just to tell people, when we were preparing for this episode, you told us that a lot of people suffered too much to, for with the digital transformation. Like a lot of them didn't have anything online; they didn't know what to do with. So you told us that was one of your challenges. I believe this is a big challenge for you, right?
No, there's no question. You've hit the nail right on the head. So the thing is, you've got to go back to realizing that, I mean, many people, they wouldn't even understand that retail has always, especially independent retailers, so these are smaller retailers who are stretched extremely thin, okay, because they have, it's not even about resource, well, I guess human resources, because they've not that many people in their team that have to do the business functions. It's usually left to the owners, so it could be a female, a typically female. Do you know that most independent retail stores are owned and run by women? The most interesting thing.
I wouldn't be surprised. Women usually have a very good mentality for business and multitaskers.
Absolutely. It's not even so much a mentality of business. I want to do this, and I'm not afraid of hard work. And the compensation is second, third, or fourth. They are not driven by how much money I'm going to make. This is the way I've always wanted to own. I get the calls. I get a phone call here. I'm going to use this one. Hello, Barbara. I've always wanted to open a little shop. And I've heard you're the gal that's going to help me as my business coach take me through this. And I go, take your retirement money and leave the country. What the heck are you?
I don't know. We're going to have comedy here today.
Well, but it's the truth. It's like, really, how hard do you want to work? How hard do you want to work after you just...
Oh, my God. I didn't see that coming. I didn't see that answer coming, Barbara. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
I
didn't see that one coming.
So straightforward. I'm so straightforward, and I take them through a 10-point. Do you really want to start this business? And if they continue to say to me, yes, we do, it will be my great pleasure to be their coach and help them through all this. Sorry to divert you from your main thing.
That was funny.
This is part of your process as well.
It's part of your process, you know. We have to cut that out. That's a good one. That's a sizzler. Because Hashem's pretty funny too, but I think you just topped him today. That was good. So okay. Sorry to interrupt you. Keep going. That was good.
So you just to refresh me with the question that you wanted to know, and that was.
So the lack of preparation for a digital transformation. So these businesses were small. So basically, you're saying they're very thin. They didn't have the resources. How did that go for them in sort of close? What happened?
Gentlemen, I ask for reports because the thing is, one thing as a business coach, there's all kinds of ways to look and analyze a business. But one of the things is, can you please, just a simple question, can you please tell me what your daily sales are, your monthly, your quarterly, your yearly sales? And all of a sudden, I hear all this paper rattling, and they're putting little scraps of paper together. And I'll go, wait a minute, what are you doing? No POS. There's no tech behind the accumulation of information. Is all done on pieces of paper. Well, I've called many a client's bluff, and I said, you send me those pieces of paper because I want to see what you're doing, because they have to be accountable for what's happening so we know what to do next. So was independent retail always on what I call on the really back end of technology? The answer is yes. Let me they would be the last ones to get a computer in their store. I use my son's computer when I go home.
Oh, wow.
I promise you.
Yeah.
A cell phone? I use my husband's cell phone. So now you're going to go, is she exaggerating? The answer is no. We've come a long way, but we typically did not see the retail environment, as it has to do with independent dealers, so small businesses, as deserving of this money output. Things have changed, but that has been the natural place that they were. So let's just say, okay, so now you want me to have an online store and you want me to have social media presence. Let's see, what else do you want from me? A lot. A lot. Because the thing is, if you don't know what business how about not even understanding what inventory they have?
Yeah.
Right? Because it's all counted. How would you like to get hired by a bead company that hasn't done inventory for 10 years?
Wow.
A bead company.
Yeah.
That's a lot of beads.
Yeah.
Right.
So the thing is, did when this sudden change, like over a night, we were in lockdown, we were something like this. So did you see some, because we saw some businesses cope with it quickly. We saw some people close down because they couldn't cope, and some of them has already something before. I believe the businesses you deal with, you were always pushing them to have that, which may be a reason why they continued. So can you just tell us a little bit about coping with that, specifically for people who just was shocked over a night that they have to do this?
Well, the thing is, those people actually, some of them never came back to the reality because they just weren't prepared. And you know what it has to do? It's where you are in the life curve. You know, if you're 40 something, if you're 50 something, you might want to start again. You might want to refresh yourself, reimagine how you're going to be. But let's just take you into, and I mean, I never pretend to be Dr. Phil, but I ask the real life questions. If you're 65, 70, 75, do you want to go through this change? We're talking about independent small business. They own their own business. Or is it time really just to not, sort of pack up, go back to the realities of what's happening and close the doors as painlessly as possible, because it's time for you to live. Right. So you have to, I think I could never coach. I chose never to coach business without the reality of where they were in life cycles. It's not fair. Right. So, I mean, I am in this business, and so is my partner, with a heart and a soul. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Doesn't. So, where families had perhaps maybe could even have been employees that cared enough about their business to bring the latest technology or understanding of technology. But then again, a lot of our work is what technology, which company to connect with. My partner is on all day long as an IT specialist and researcher, connecting the right services with what the retailer needs, slating it so that they don't overpay, so that they get the right services, and that they're easily used, training people how to use that, right? So there's a lot of aspects to it. All I have to say is that when there's a fit between what people need, number one, you've got to share with them what they need. Don't even know that. We go through a whole point system to show them where they are, what they need. What the big challenge is, gentlemen, is if a business calls us and they are so close to the wolves at the door because they've overstretched their monies, they do not have enough reserve, whether it's because the money comes into businesses all kinds of times, all kinds of ways. When sales stop through the sale of, when money coming in stops from the sale of products, are there other ways that money can come in for a while? Through bank loans, through other types of loans, through, monies through securing on their own assets, coming back into the business. using other reserved monies that they may have had. A lot of people have used their retirement money, which scares me.
Yeah.
Right? So you can see they've got the resources, then they can move forward. And
Yeah. So that actually will be taking us also to our next topic, is like right now, as you said, they're using their money, or they have used or something, but that's not gonna go away all the way down, and then the pandemic is gonna end soon, hopefully with the vaccine and all of this thing, and we're gonna go into a total different new world. We're gonna get some normality back, but we're not gonna give everything back. So how about what is gonna happen? We need your expertise on that, on and so those people, those business owners, let's say, would know what to do. And so what about the future? I believe, Jim, you have a question about for that, that like after the pandemic, what is happening?
Yeah, so some of these changes will allow them to use the old way of the way they did things, or the a hybrid from online. Where do you see both of those going?
Yeah, I believe that we're a lot of people. We're gonna myself. We'd love to go one on one, but seeing what is happening right now, I think people would love to also have the option to stay online for sometimes, or when I cannot be on one. So do you see that thing happening, and how?
the thing is that all of you gentlemen are asking questions that are almost self-answered because you're in the know, you're in the flow. You understand. I mean, you are the consumer as well. You are the consumer, so you know how it hit you. Very simply stated, the pandemic is rewriting the rules of retail. Okay, we have a new consumer. The consumer is being educated, whether it's by Jeff Bezos or whether it's their local retailer. They are being educated to shop differently. My hope is, my sincere hope is that we stop, giving Jeff so much of our money, and that retailers realize.
Yeah.
I cannot agree
No,
more than that. Yeah.
I agree. Keep going. Sorry, I agree with you as well.
Because you can imagine the devastation of our communities, of our towns, our cities, if we do not have that mix of retail within all the other services that we provide. But here's the thing: as much as the consumer, but I've got to tell you, I picked up some statistics for you gentlemen. One of the biggest sectors of online shopping fans have come from the baby boomers. And they were getting such a bad rap in the years previous because they didn't understand how to use the technology. Well, guess what? They learned. And they learned really well. They love shopping online. But here's the thing. Imagine, I'm answering your question in sort of a roundabout way. Imagine the same people that we're talking about that comprise the baby boomer group. They want to shop in their local store, but the average local store didn't have a way to do it during the pandemic.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
that's the point.
Yeah. No, it's that's why I asked the question, and I know maybe you're answering it, but at the end of the day, I'd like to say that I want to shop local. I want to make an effort to shop local, but if you couldn't do that, and unfortunately some rules that the government have put down, I think are really unfair. Let's be honest, they've been unfair. Two local businesses I've worked. I live in the downtown core, but I worked in the Leslieville area for almost 6 weeks. I saw it. There was great stores in that area too. Like I saw it. So I even if you wanted to go, you couldn't.
No.
And
So what are we going to do? When we're looking at this subject in such a narrow slice.
Yeah.
So the thing is that right now shopping has to be safe. It has to be convenient.
Mm-hmm.
idea of retailers following the pandemic guidelines and, offering a curbside pickup. Well, if there's no way to show them the product, how are they shopping? I mean, the thing is, our jobs, and my job specifically as a business coach, is to address the issues where the retailer is. So if they're not ready to go online, how are we going to do this? I'm teaching them to do private Zoom calls. I'm teaching them how to do private shopping calls on FaceTime. That is so fun because this is a private shopping event with the consumer. Curbside pickup, we'll have it delivered. Our doors are closed. Stay safe. Your convenience is important. Send out a newsletter. Show the products you sell. Oh, you know what? We have instigated an online site, and now you can shop with us online. But how about, why don't I teach you how to go on Facebook Live and do live shopping events to large crowds? I mean, every single night I am looking at all my clients that do the Facebook Live events. It's so much fun. We're shopping different.
Yeah.
We're shopping different, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, of course. And so that also brings me to something that we saw a lot of retailers now getting in. They repurposed the retail, like the coffee shop you showed me. They're now converted into making masks, and a lot of businesses went up doing that. But we know that after the pandemic, this is gonna go. This is gonna go, degrade. Our need for this kind of thing, we're gonna go much less. But we saw a lot of repurposing. So do you think that those businesses that were created for the pandemic can repurpose? And is that opening the door, as you just said, for people to open their mind to repurpose their retail, or to repurpose their business?
yeah, it's, gentlemen, we're talking about natural things that occur.
Yeah.
And go, we can't stay this way because it's not working.
Right.
Right now, 100% of my clients are doing surveys with their customers. We've done custom surveys that reach out and say, because the thing is, I bring to my clients what the consumer trends are going to be for 2021 based on the pandemic. And trust me, they are quite significantly different. So my request to the clients, let's put together surveys. Let's get this out through your newsletters, on your websites, through emails, any other way you can get it through. Why don't we ask your clients what is relevant in their lives in association with the products that you sell? Let's not guess. Let's really, and you know what? I can pretty well tell you what's relevant to them, and so can the retailer in many cases when given the time to think about it. But why don't we ask them? And then when we know, then we'll know whether we're carrying the right product, whether we need to move others. Just like what you said, a retailer can say to me, Barbara, I'm getting a sense that I should be carrying masks. I think so. It's become a product we should all carry, correct?
Yeah.
But the thing is, the connection to consumer trends as it has to do with these huge events, consumer shopping habits as it has to do with these huge events, it is no doubt that the people who are connected to technology and access to convenient and safety of shopping had it all over every other type of retail. But gentlemen, I don't want anyone to discount the independent retail. They are resilient, and they are going to come back. The ones that, here's the caveat, the ones that had enough money to survive this episode will come back. The ones that ran their business too close to the bone before this all started, overstock, not enough money in reserve, I promise you, they can't come back. They can't, because there just aren't enough funds. And also, again, remember their age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's interesting, and I just wanted to. You mentioned something about businesses transforming, and there's some businesses that were cafes starting selling masks and all that. One little quick question, and before we wrap up, is out of the clients that you saw, or the clients that you have, or what you saw in the industry, how many of the businesses did turn into creating websites or becoming more digitally savvy? Do you have? Can you give us? I was just curious. How many did you see? Do you have a number?
I talk to them 100% because I don't
Wow.
give up. I don't give up. Why would I care about your business? Why would why would I? I wrote an article at the beginning of 2020. I don't usually get hate mail. Think about it, okay? But I wrote an article and said, if you do not get on the technology bandwagon, do not set up social media channels, website channels, you will disappear. Your business will disappear. That's what I got hate mail on.
Really, eh? Wow.
Yeah.
And I wore each one of them very proudly because, it has to be said. It has to be said.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's not good to get hate mail, but you were telling the truth. I mean, I'm biased. I'm big on newsletters. I represent an email marketing company. I'm a little biased, but at the end of the day, I all I can say from my end, some powerful stories and some powerful insights you shared, Barbara. And like I said, that's why we wanted you to come on to give that perspective. And one thing that has stood out to me is that you said it earlier. You care about your clients, and that you want to succeed, and things that you said about where they are in their journey. I didn't expect that. Like I would not have thought that was a part of the equation. So that stuck with me. So you shared some great information on that, and I thank you for that. It really made an enlightening conversation.
Yeah, and allow me also to thank you very much for being here. Your experts, your enthusiasm, I can feel that. You're that, and I think our audience are gonna feel it as well. We're so happy to have you. We're so proud to have you. First of all, you're an independent. You're Canadian. You are a woman. Like all of those.
I work in Canada, in the US, in South America, in Mexico, in the Caribbean, in Europe. Can you imagine how lucky I've been?
Yes. No, that's great.
I wouldn't put luck in the equation because from what I know, you're very hardworking, and you know what you're doing, and you made yourself. You don't need luck for that. You're an amazing as you are, and I think your clients are lucky to have you. That's what I
agree.
think. You're lucky.
I agree. And one thing I like to add is shop local, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna plug shop local. I recently had something I need to get done, and I took it to a local individual, and they, I'm gonna get back soon, but I think we need to make an effort. So my final tagline to this is make an effort to shop locals, and I'll leave it at that. I'll throw it back to you, Hisham, to wrap it up.
Yeah, I'm not talking against Amazon, but I personally stopped shopping at Amazon for a lot of reasons many years ago, like 4 years ago. But this year, I realized that it was an important, because if you used to get things from those online shoppers, it's very tough to go back. But I stopped using all of that, and I'm always pushing on local Canadian retailers, local Canadian markets, even if they are like Starbucks or any other businesses. You know that those franchisees are also Canadian, so they are in the market. So shop local, be local. I'll leave the last word to you, Barbara. What do you want to tell to our audience?
Well, this isn't easy to do. It's a step-by-step process, but I promise you, if you pick up the phone or you send us an email and we start just the discovery conversation, And the thing is, we never coach beyond what the client can handle, because during a coaching session, an information session, they're given homework, and they have to do the homework. And then we go back, and then we go forward. But we can see after 1 to 3 months with us, the business is accelerated. Every single one of the businesses that we have taken on since COVID has survived, and it's doing better than it was before COVID.
That's great. That's great to hear. That's great to hear.
Great.
That's great. To hear.
Thumbs up. Thumbs up. Ladies and gentlemen, our audience. Also, we'd like to thank Barbara for that. We were gonna put her details, her business details, in the details of this episode. And if you are a retailer, or if you want to start a business in retail, or any of the businesses that Barbara could help you with, go local. Ask Barbara. She's amazing. All the information are going to be in the description of the video on all platforms. We put it on YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen, you can hear. And Barbara, we appreciate your being here with us. And we're bye.
All right.
And
Bye-bye,
take care, and
everybody.
we'll see you.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.